Welcome. It's another day for Bhagavad Gita Sadhana, and it's a glorious day, as you can tell by the glory. And perhaps you can still see the colors behind me in the fall trees, and those will be gone very soon. Time marches on. And today, if you've tuned in, I tried to say this a couple videos ago, but if you tuned in and you're like, where are you? It's a different time. Yes, we do the time change here. And I find it fascinating to say the time change because the time doesn't change, but our perception of it does. And let me tell you, it can make people really grumpy. I'm tired of this clock back, clock forward. Supposedly it's supposed to stop, but when is it ever going to stop? Because my cat does not know the meaning of us changing our clocks. It's still time for peas in the morning. But I'm glad you did catch me whenever that is. It is, by the way, with the wind chill today, it is just above freezing, which is wild because the weather's been up and down, summery, wintry, summery, wintry. And speaking of ups and downs, today I'm going to be answering a wonderful question from a wonderful viewer who is very consistent. Thank you, Sue. She sent in, please explain the reason for Krishna is dark and then light. Explain Agya Chakra, light side, dark side, and any comparison to that. Thank you. I'm enjoying the sadhanas as usual. I just wanted to slip that in. Well, I appreciate those kind words. So it's great to go over this because I've been reading the Gita long enough that to me it's like, well, of course, everybody will get this right away or know it. But in the West, this book is just not well known. You know, in the West here, I can say Superman, Batman, and people go, oh, yeah. They have a general idea, almost everybody. But Krishna and Arjun, hardly anybody knows them here. So the Bhagavad Gita can be read as many things, just as spiritual literature, as a beautiful poem, as stories. Some people call it myth, as a religious treatise, as a historical document. It can also be read symbolically that these characters represent internal aspects of us. And the story of the Gita, while seemingly about an external war, is about our internal war. And if we can resolve that, then the world changes around us. The two major characters are Krishna and his best friend, Arjun. So the word Krishna literally, if you translate it, means dark. And Krishna is not the only Krishna in the Mahabharata from which the Gita comes. There are at least two other major characters that are named dark, one of which is the author of the Gita. Is that a coincidence? Arjun's name literally means clear or light. And the fact that the dark and the light are best friends represents any kind of opposite that we can resolve within ourselves. So any opposite, anything we see as dark, and then its counterpart, anything we see as light. For example, fear we might see as darkness, and courage might be seen as a light quality, a quality of the good. We could say good and bad are opposite ends of a spectrum. And the fact, as I mentioned, that Krishna and Arjuna are best friends means that these opposites have to be reconciled within us for us to overcome the battle. Krishna needs Arjun to carry out fate, and Arjun needs Krishna to do the impossible. So they need each other. Each needs the other. And I hope that's helpful. If it's not, send me another question asking for clarity. I'm happy to answer them. And Agya Chakra. Now, if you're familiar, there's the idea of chakras. Some people call them energy centers. I call them ways of describing the human experience before there were things like exploratory surgery or CT scans where we could see physical structures, for example. So the six key, how do I put it? Chakras. The six key ways that we manifest ourselves on all levels, there's a way to put it, represent the six major chakras. And there are thousands and thousands of chakras in our body and around our body, according to the East physiology view. So each of the major chakras, from the root up to the throat, is one of the characters of the Bhagavad Gita. It's Arjun, or one of his four brothers. Okay. So Arjun represents actually the navel center, the center of skill and power and of going forth to meet your destiny. Krishna, it said, is the head chakra, the chakra right in the center of the skull, represented by the eyebrow center. The different chakras are represented as flowers with different petals. And for example, the throat chakra has 16 different petals, one for each vowel of the Sanskrit alphabet. But here, up in the head, there are only 2 petals. And one on the left side is said to be the lunar, or the dark petal, and the one on the right side is the solar, or the light petal. So here in Agnya, this is a representation in each of us. Okay, so if it's one of the major ways we are as humans, we do tend to divide the world because we're bilateral beings. Just think if we had 5 arms like a starfish, how complicated our philosophies would be. So we have these 2 aspects of existence, and they resolve, merge, become one at Agnya. And then when there's only one experience, it's said that then everything opens up through the crown chakra. All right. So that's the symbolism of Agnya. And many yoga traditions will say you work up to become established in this. And when you do, all dualities end. Whew. I hope that was useful. As I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to comment, or I know some of you email or text, and that's great also. So I wanted to do a couple more dedications today, and they have to do sometime. Well, to all new subscribers, thank you. I love getting the little notifications. To Sue, thank you. To Reverend Shannon, thank you for providing a wonderful experience yesterday of breaking down the barriers between what we consider to be living people and dead people, and having a wonderful service about connecting with those who are no longer in the body but are still with us. And also, I'd like to dedicate this to the young Amish men I saw at Mentor Headlands Beach yesterday. Now, if any of you are familiar with the Amish, they live extremely simple lives. No electricity. Often they have to be driven from one place to the other. They use horse-drawn carts. But these young Amish men had some of the most advanced photographic equipment I'd ever seen, and they were all looking at this tree. And I started walking by, and somebody goes, "There's a little saw-whet owl in that tree." And these young men took the time to really point out where it was, because it was so well camouflaged. And that dichotomy of simplicity, embracing simplicity in life, but also the complexity of technology and being so kind and sharing about it. So they got something going on there. Thank you. Thank you to the saw-whet owl, which let us watch it. And let's explore the opposites. We'll balance first on one foot. The right foot represents the solar and the light. The left represents the dark or the lunar, and you can start on either one. I think I've frozen to the porch. Okay, I'm up. I'm up. Good. Switch sides. Wonderful. Time for our contemplation. According to the Bhagavad Gita, it's very easy to stop seeing opposites in the world, and that is to stop looking for differences amongst people or things or ideas, and look for the similarities. Today, I invite you to consider an opposite you might hold in your mind. For example, if it's election time, you might think of the two ends of the political spectrum. But what do they have in common? What is that unifying spark within the two seemingly disparate ends of experience? 5 minutes. Welcome back. Time has flown. Thank you for being part of this today. I do feel very connected to you. And please know that in a couple days, I will be having a special election day version of this very practice. So hope you'll join us. If not tomorrow, then very soon. Until then, may we find the unity between us instead of seeing the opposites.